BrahMos missile is no longer just a domestic defense success story. It is now becoming India's biggest calling card in the global arms market, from UAE to Thailand, from Philippines to Vietnam. More than a dozen countries are watching BrahMos closely. They want to buy BrahMos. Why do they want to buy BrahMos? Is it enough to cater to the needs of the countries like Thailand or Vietnam? Without wasting any more time, let me introduce my guest. I am joined by Air Commodore Dr. Ashminder Singh Bahal and Group Captain VN Jha, Senior Scientist from former Joint Director DRDO. Let me just go to Dr. Bahal first. Sir, why BrahMos is a hit? These countries could have purchased any other thing from India. Why is BrahMos doing so well? It's not as if other countries don't have supersonic weapons.
BrahMos is something like a stealth missile coming and hitting you before you come to know about it. And that's what happened when in Op Sindoor. If you remember, they got just about 20 to 30 seconds of, time in which the Pakistanis radars could detect, identify and attack it. Intercept it. It was just not enough. And by then it had already hit. It is not just the missile. It is operationally, I'm talking of operationally, world's fastest missile, and it flies at around 2.8 to 3 Mach, has ranges of 300 kilometers to 800 kilometers depending on which version you are flying, and on top of it, it flies a nap of the earth. It's not only low observable, it from 15 kilometers altitude, it ducks down, flies. Nap of earth means very close to the ground at 3 to 10 meters, and in case of seas, it is sea skimming. And it doesn't give any reaction time to the enemy air defenses. We hit at many of their air bases, 11 air bases. And if you remember, one was Bholari, where we went and hit the hangar, and it was completely devastated. And there was a airborne early warning and control aircraft, means the aircraft which had a radar on top. And that aircraft was destroyed, which is an extremely costly asset and a very valuable asset. And the best thing about this missile is that it has not only got targets on ground, it can also hit ships. It is an anti-ship missile also. It depends on the seeker that you're putting on the warhead, which the scientists will be very nicely able to explain. But the basic thing is this missile has many roles. It can hit air bases, command and control centers. It can hit terror infrastructure, bunkers, hangars, and it is also can be used as an anti-ship missile provided those particular seekers have been put into this. And therefore, you can use it as an air launch from Su-30 MKI. You can use it from ground, and you can use it from ships like Rajput class, Kolkata class, Vizag class destroyers, or frigates like Shivalik or Talwar and Talwar class. And now we are even tested it from submarines. And in the submarines, we are going to utilize it from Project 75I submarine. So what it means is gives us tremendous flexibility, strategic surprise, and tremendously accurate 1 to 3 meters.
Mr. Jha, my question is, why have we been able to achieve this sort of a success for BrahMos and not for other military products?
Not for other military products. Karthikeyan, in case if there is of Sindoor 2, you will be surprised to know there are many missiles on the wings which is desperately waiting to gain that fame. To start with the least, Prahar, Pralay, Rudram, Shaurya, Nirbhaya. You can continue naming this. I'm just talking of the ground-based missile or air-based missile which is picking up the surface target. Besides, there are many other missiles which is active in the ocean,
but will they be able to match BrahMos if it goes hypersonic, sir?
I'm coming to it. Look, BrahMos has gone a sea changes in its entire concept, design, and efficacy. Gone are the days when we were reliant onto the Russian technology of BrahMos of 280 kilometers range. That has gone sea changes into it. Now we already have the BrahMos, which has got extended range, that is 380, 390 kilometer, and the another version which is much more sleeker, which has cut down onto its solid booster quantity to make it compliant with the even LCA that should be able to mount 2 such missiles on its wings or underneath. So it is undergoing the changes into it, which is virtually making it, much more difficult for any enemy to judge it. And what you prompted, if it can go hypersonic. Look, if you change the RAM engine inside the BrahMos with the scramjet, well, you are already there.
What is the difference between a ram engine and a scramjet engine, sir?
Ramjet takes you to the max of about 5 Mach speed or so, because it has got limitations. The amount of engine breath that you take, the type of flame that you use in the engine. So all those things make a difference. And the scramjet engine, which we have already tested, and we have tested for a long duration of time also, that can continue working even at 20 Mach speed. Now you imagine that we have an aircraft airborne or from the ground surface, which a Commodore was trying to tell you that it just gives you some seconds. Maybe in the ideal circumstances, it can give enemy about 2.5 minutes or so. In the ideal circumstances where there is no obstruction to the radar, so that is the best condition scenario. But otherwise, as he told you, it gives you just about 20-30 seconds time in which no air defense system can track it and destroy it. So now think of the scramjet engine. Now think of 10 Mach, 20 Mach missile coming to you. It doesn't give you can just blink and it has hit you. Okay. So that is the type of capability the scramjet engine, if replaces. Right now there is a understanding with the Russia. The NPOM has given us the ramjet engine and some more system.
You have raised a very important point. You have raised a very important point. And I was thinking about it. Dr. Bahal, if you look at the both West Asian and the Ukrainian theater, the entire war is around offensive capabilities. Like you have a drone offense, it's very difficult, very expensive to control a drone offense. It's very difficult. They can overwhelm the system. If you look at the ushering of the hypersonic missiles, as Group Captain Jha said, it's next to impossible to stop it. Is it going to change the nature of warfare the way the German Blitzkrieg did it in World War II? Then what happened to the defense capability? Then, the entire defense architecture is vulnerable to the offense. I mean to say that if a couple of countries have the weapons which are unstoppable, then how do you...
Absolutely.
I'm just thinking, how do you defend your mothership? How do you defend your destroyers? Then where is the defense, If you have a weapon which is unstoppable.
Karthikeya, a very nice question. In fact, you mentioned Oceanic, which came at 10 Mach in Ukraine, and it could not be intercepted, and it had also MIRV capability, which means multiple warheads, which went and hit different targets, which are spread around. Now, when we are looking, it's a continuous fight in warfare. If you see right from World War I days, December 1903 was the first time a heavier than air flight was made. And subsequently, the most rapid technological progress has taken place in air power and elements that use the air, like the drones and the missiles. But the important thing here is that there's always a fight between the defense and offense. And as the technology changes, so does the technology change for the defensive systems. The radars become more capable. They are able to pick up at larger distances. They are able to discriminate even between stealthy targets. And for example, that when we are looking at even in the Russia-Ukraine theater, you find that the air defense system, now even our S-400, now it is able to intercept the hypersonic missiles which are coming from space. The difference between a hypersonic missile that comes from space is a ballistic missile, and a cruise missile is one which uses the air environment. And a cruise missile usually comes at nap of the earth, which means it's so low that picking up by a radar is extremely different, because a radar has a particular envelope of its beams. So now in that envelope of the cone, if it comes, then only can it pick it up. In higher altitudes, it's easier. But in lower altitudes and extremely very lower altitudes, the reaction times are extremely slow. Now, when we were talking of the ramjet and scramjet, the basic thing about ramjet is that after 4.5 Mach, its efficiency reduces because the airflow gets reduced by the speed of the missile. But in case of hypersonic missiles, what happens is in the scramjet, the airflow itself is supersonic. Now, it is something like you're burning a candle in a storm and trying to keep it remaining burning is what is happening in the combustion chamber. And now we are looking at even liquid fueled ramjet for our NG, that is BrahMos NG. And BrahMos NG is the one which the scientists was telling us is going to be fitted on Tejas. And that is the next generation missile with the 3 to 3.5 Mach, 350 kilometers is the range. It's a very good missile that is coming up, and it can fit in different aircraft because its weight reduces from 2.5 tons to 1.5 ton, which is virtually less than half, which is around half the weight of the current one, which is fitted on a Su-30 MK. Last thing I want to say is the problem with intercepting a BrahMos will be more if it's an hypersonic missile than a problem of intercepting a Oshnik over a period of time.
Okay. I think, for me, the good story is instead of just being importers, India is actually becoming an exporter of material. We should see more defense civil synergy and more such exports. Not only it's an India pride story, but it's also coming of the age story. That we can also do it. We will not be dependent on Western powers or the Eastern powers for the tech and technology. 30 seconds, sir, because I really have to. There is an interview I have done. I have to tease it.
Fair enough. I was just trying to add a bit what Air Commodore had told you. The how to combat it. Where is the thin margin between the defense and the offense, which is going to counter? Look, there are the counter system. Right now, BrahMos is about 0.7 meter of the cross-section area, which is very difficult to be picked up by radar. Ground-based radar has got a better chance, but airborne radar has got virtually no chance of picking it up, that 0.7 meter.
Okay.
And now think of, in case if we change the body from the present version to the ECM version or the stealth version, or if there's a paint, which can further reduce the image of the BrahMos, then it is an absolutely lethal in the present form itself. There are some experiment, I won't be able to tell you on the camera. There are certain experiments
You're
going on.
You're teasing me on the camera. You're not telling me on the camera, but I have really run short of time, sir. Because I've really run short of time. Just to my viewers, I have interviewed the Palestinian envoy to India who's spoken on Gaza and many things. So this is what I have on point 3. And I'm just going to tell you that it's the most in-depth interview he has given till now. Viewers, Gaza continues to face a deep humanitarian emergency, a crisis. But this is no longer just a Gaza story. It is now tied to the larger crisis unfolding across West Asia, from Gaza to South Lebanon, from the Red Sea to the Gulf. The conflict has widened the fault lines of the region. Families remain displaced. Hospitals are under pressure. Aid access remains restricted. And every fresh escalation raises one fear, whether West Asia is moving towards peace or towards another cycle of war. India has consistently spoken about a just, lasting and comprehensive peace. But the central question remains, is the ceasefire actually holding? Can Gaza be separated from the wider West Asia war? What does Palestine want from the world now? What role can India play? And after this scale of destruction, is the two-state solution still alive? To discuss this, we are now joined by the Palestinian ambassador to India, Abdullah M. Abu Shawish. Thank you so much, sir, for joining me on Point. And let me begin this conversation by asking you, take us through the situation in Gaza and West Bank.